There's a certain type of man, he seems to do everything right. Maybe you know a guy like this. Or maybe, if we're being really honest here, you are him. This explainer is all about what happens when doing everything by the book starts to go completely and quietly wrong.
I mean, think about it. He's the guy who always shows up early. He listens way more than he talks, and he usually gives more than he probably should. And for a while, this whole strategy, it looks like it's working perfectly. It feels like the right way to be.
But then something starts to shift. It's not loud, it's not obvious. It's just a feeling. Kind of like the air is slowly being let out of a room. He'll be in the middle of a conversation, doing all the right things, nodding, listening, when it hits him. They haven't asked him a single question about himself, and he just lets it slide. Of course he does. And right after that moment, this slow fade begins. He starts getting a little less respect, a little less attention. His options, whether it's at work or in his personal life, they just start to shrink. And it doesn't happen all at once, you see. It's this gradual decline that's so hard to catch until it's already got a hold on you.
So let's be real for a second. This whole story, it probably sounds a bit familiar. And I don't mean as a story about some other guy. I mean about you. And the most frustrating part of all this, nobody ever really explains why it happens, especially not the people who kind of benefit from you staying exactly this way. So naturally, your brain starts scrambling for an answer. And it usually lands on the same old stuff. I just need to be more confident. Or, well, I guess I have to try even harder. Or the classic, maybe I should be more dominant. You've heard all of this before, right? It sounds good on the surface, but it's just not the real problem. And that brings us right to the heart of it, the big paradox. Why does a man do everything by the book, give more, care more, wait longer, only to end up feeling totally invisible? Or worse, always coming in last? It's a seriously frustrating loop to be stuck in. But what if the cause isn't outside of you? What if it has nothing to do with luck or timing or other people? What if it's a pattern that you've been running on repeat without even knowing it? Okay, let's really get into this. Because this whole pattern, it doesn't start with your last relationship or your current job. No, it goes way, way back. It all starts with your childhood blueprint and how the thing that kept you safe back then can actually become a trap in adulthood.
See, when you were a kid, you learned a really simple formula to get by. Be easy, be agreeable, keep things smooth, don't make waves. And every time you did that, what happened? You were rewarded. You got smiles, you got approval. So your brain, just doing its job, it locked in that lesson. Okay, this behavior keeps me safe. Notice it didn't learn, this helps me win. It learned, this keeps me safe. But here is the massive problem. The strategy that keeps a little boy safe doesn't always work for the man he grows into. To keep that feeling of safety, you learn to edit yourself. You soften your opinions, you hold back what you really think, and bit by bit, without you even noticing, parts of you, they just get erased. And all this self-editing, it isn't random. Over years and years, it hardens into this sort of unconscious contract you make with the world. An unspoken deal that's built on this quiet hope that if you do your part, your efforts will, eventually, be returned. And this is the deal, isn't it? It's this silent belief you carry around that says, if I'm just good enough, if I'm patient enough, if I just keep showing up and doing the right thing, then eventually they'll see it. I'll be chosen. It feels fair. Heck, it almost feels logical. But the world, well, it doesn't really care about our unspoken deals. So when your efforts aren't matched, first comes confusion. Then that confusion starts to curdle into frustration as you wait and wait for things to change. And finally, it all just settles into this quiet, heavy resentment that sits right underneath everything you do. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth that most people would rather just skip over. When your kindness is actually part of a transaction, when it's really a down payment on a future expectation, it's not entirely clean, is it? It's calculated. You smile when something feels off. You agree when you don't really mean it, all in the hopes of getting a return on that investment. So this brings us to a really crucial distinction that we almost always miss. We tell ourselves we're keeping the peace, but are we creating genuine peace, or are we just avoiding conflict? Because from a distance, they can look the same, but up close, they are worlds apart. And there's a huge difference here. You see, true peace is grounded, it's calm, it comes from setting honest boundaries because you actually want to resolve something. Avoidance, on the other hand, it's anxious, it's performative. It's all about erasing your own boundaries just to escape the temporary discomfort of any kind of tension. And every single time you choose avoidance, every time you let that little disrespectful comment slide, you pay a price. And that habit of staying silent, it doesn't just stay in one place. Oh no, it spreads. It starts affecting how you show up at work, how you value your own time, and where you direct your precious energy. These small, consistent acts of self-abandonment, they're not just isolated incidents. They are building something. Over time, this consistency literally builds your identity. And that identity, well, that's what teaches other people exactly how they are allowed to treat you. So what is the antidote? I mean, how do you actually break this cycle for good? Well, the answer isn't to become some aggressive jerk. It's about developing something much more powerful and a whole lot more honest. The solution is clarity. And look, this isn't about being cold or mean. It's about being direct and clean. It means knowing exactly what you want, knowing what you will absolutely not tolerate, and having the self-respect to walk away from situations that don't serve you, without needing anyone else's permission to do it. And with clarity, that whole unspoken deal, it just dissolves. There are no more hidden transactions, no more silent expectations weighing you down. You give because you genuinely want to, not as a strategy to get something in return. And if nothing comes back, you're fine, because it was a gift, not a loan. Remember where we started this whole thing? With that frustrating, outward-facing question? We were looking at the world and asking, why does this keep happening to me? It's a question that puts all the powers somewhere else, totally outside of your control. But with clarity, that question completely flips inward. It's no longer about what's happening to you. The real and much more powerful question becomes, why have I been allowing it in? And that question returns all the agency, all the control right back to you. And that right there brings us to the core truth of this entire pattern. It's a simple but profound reality. A man who abandons himself little by little, all in the name of being the right guy, is actually teaching everyone around him to do the exact same thing. The world will simply follow your lead.